Hi guys, so my last video was quite long and serious, and today I'm doing something a little bit more low-key, a little bit more fun, and definitely a lot shorter, which is going to be ranking different skaters' Bolero programs on a tier list. S being the best, F is the worst, everything in between is order of the alphabet, best to worst. If you don't watch figure skating and you don't know, skaters will skate their programs to different music, and a song that's frequently used is Ravel's Bolero. Not to be confused with the other Bolero, which is a type of Cubano music, though I'd love to see someone skate to that. I think that'd be fun. So Bolero is also known to be a little bit cursed as a song to skate to, since there have been a number of instances with people skating to Bolero, and that's not really ended the best. Despite this sort of cursed reputation, year after year after year, people continue to skate to it. Oh my goodness. Several skaters have already announced their plans to skate to it this next season, like Emily Zinga's Vadim Kolesnik, Lev Lazarov, and Yelena Kostyeva. So it will never die, I think. Before I start the ranking, I want to introduce myself. My name is Olivia, and I make videos about figure skating, and that's from educational content to deep dives into skaters' careers, and also to fun little videos like this. And if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to like and subscribe, which lets me know that you want to see more content like this. Okay, so disclaimer, obviously I can't include every single Bolero program. That would literally be impossible. I'm going to include a lot of the popular ones or well-known ones that I could find. If I didn't include your fave, I'm so sorry. Let me know in the comments. So the first Bolero I'm ranking is a really iconic one. It's really well known, and it's a recent one, which is Kamila Valieva's Bolero. So she used this program for her free in the 2020 to 2021 season, as well as the next season in the 2021 to 2022 season. And right off the bat, this Bolero is cursed big time because of that Olympic free skate. Honestly, not even just in the individual event. She also had issues with this in the team event. She had a fall in this. So this program just did not serve her very well in a way, but in the same time, it's very iconic for her. She's so this is an iconic costume, iconic program for her. She's broke records with this skate. As far as how things are ranked, just know if it vibes Bolero, it gets good points. If it does not vibe Bolero, it gets poor points. My pros and cons of the program. My first little highlight is the costume. I really like it, specifically the one she wore at the Olympics, the one with the red on the top and the red gloves. I really like it. I love the details. I love the little sparkles, and I love specifically the little snake that's on it. I think it's so cool. It kind of it's like a green snake, and it works as a bodice, and then it goes to the back, and you can see the snake's head on the top of her back, and it has a little tongue, and I think that's so cool. That's so detailed. I love little details like that. I didn't even realize that the first several times I watched it until I saw a photo, and I was like, wait a second, that's not just a regular little design. That's actual little, that's a little guy, that's a little critter. I think her black version of it was okay. I think it was a little more basic. I'm glad she did red for the Olympic season. I think that one was much more Olympic material, to be honest. Also, randomly while I was getting photos for this, to look at, I stumbled on a version that I never actually saw before, where the back is a giant snake's head, and she has snakes all up her arms. For me, it was a little bit much. And I don't think that would have suited Bolero that much. It was a lot going on, to be honest. I didn't hate it, though. I didn't hate it. Wasn't very Bolero. I'm glad she didn't keep it for long. Okay, so other pros I have. The hand movement thing she does at the beginning, I think it's really fun. Where she puts her arms over her head. I think that's really cool. Very flexible. It's really sick. She also has really good speed throughout this program. I haven't really watched this program back and focus on her speed while watching it. She's a very, very fast skater, and I think that really shows through in this program. Her musical timing on the in and out of jump transitions, and just some of her transitions out of the jumps in general, I really was fond of those. Watching a clean go through a Bolero, it is a very well put together program, I'm gonna be honest. I was also I really liked her step sequence, guys. I know, I'm glazing, honestly. But, some of her turns also in that step sequence were, so on beat with the music. It was really good. So, speaking about that musical timing, that's going to bring me into some of my dislikes. She had a lot of arm movements, and when they were on beat with the music, it was really, really cool, and it really, really flowed well with the program, and it looked really good. But sometimes she was doing these, really, sharp, jerky arm movements, but there was no musical accenting on them. So, I feel like they did not look great. I didn't love that, to be honest. Also, that goes for some of her kicks. I know kicks are a big part of the whole Danny G choreography, but this program didn't have loads of kicks, and there was one kick in the program, and it hit a musical accent, and I think it was the best kick in the program, and it looked really, really good, and it was probably the only kick that needed to be in the program, because the other ones were not really on any musical timing, and they just didn't need to be there. I think we can keep one. I'm not saying we get rid of the kicks. I'm saying we put them where they need to be, And I think there only need to be one here. Back to a positive though, particularly in the last two spins of the program, she had a really good timing with the changes in the music and the changes in the position of her spins. I think that was So good. Oh my god, I really love that, actually. Overall, this was a very enjoyable Bolero program. I think it fit the vibe of Bolero, and I think it was well composed and put together. I would say solidly in B tier. Upper B tier, I would say even. And I can see why she would have kept this for 2 seasons. So our next Bolero is another Russian, but it is a much older Russian, that being Plushenko, who skated to Bolero as his short program in the 2000-2001 season. So this program was actually not super cursed for him at all, as he won literally everything he competed in this season. So Bolero curse, is that a thing? I don't even know. So for his costume, it was bland, it was boring. There was nothing special about it. Honestly, for me, it was giving like live action, like Romeo and Juliet. Like if you put that like and said, oh, this is a costume to Romeo and Juliet, I'd be like, makes sense, typical, makes sense, you know. Didn't give Bolero. I will give it was red, so it was giving Bolero in that sense. I didn't love this program. If this is your favorite program, skip ahead. I'm so sorry. I'll try to be nice first, though. The Bielman was cool. Plushenko, one of the only men to do a Bielman spin. I enjoyed it, to be honest. I can't even say the spins in general, though, like specifically this Bielman spin. His other positions for spins were pretty boring, pretty basic, but I also need to factor in they didn't have as many required positions, like for spin levels back then, so, you know, but they were still kind of boring. I also enjoyed how some of his hand movements were, like, really in sync, especially at the beginning of the program. It made them seem very purposeful, and that's all I liked. So, the hand movements, to be honest, though I like some of them, they were kind of weird. He does this, like, weird dance thing where it's kind of like when the music goes a little bit silent, he, like, stands in place and he, like, shakes his hips around, and the crowd, like, starts clapping, and they love it. I didn't love it. I didn't even like it. It was kind of just strange, out of place, didn't fit the vibe. He also does a lot of movements throughout the program that feel a little bit more contemporary, and they don't really look right with Bolero as the backing track to the movements. And I'm not even saying you can't dance or skate in a more contemporary style to classical music. People do it all the time, actually. It just does not work at all here. I think he's just, it doesn't mesh well. His step sequence, very quick, which is good, you know, good skating skills in that aspect. I did not like the step sequence, though, even though it was quite quick. I just don't really love how he does it. And honestly, his presentation in general for this program was kind of lacking. And even the commentators in the version that I was watching, like, called it out. So, and I just don't like this. I don't think it fits Bolero, and I don't even like it as a program. So it goes in the F tier. Next one is our first non-singles Bolero, which is Anastasia Bachokina and Luka Berolava. And that's going to be their short program from this season, the 2025 to 2026 season. And I'm going to start... I have attachment to this program. This was the first Pairs program that I ever, like, watched. I know, I only started watching Pairs this season, sue me. Also Ice Dance, but that one I don't even care that much about. Anyways, but, like, I only started really watching Pairs this season. And this was the thing that got me into watching Pairs. Like, I watched this and went, I want to watch more. So, I'll try to be objective, though. Okay, costumes. I love the costumes. They're so tea, especially after Plushenko's costume. There's 2 different colors for the costumes. His is black, hers is red. But hers also has elements of black, which I think does a good job at tying them together. And they also have silver sparkles on both costumes, which again, makes them complement each other and make them sort of look cohesive together, despite having different, like, main colors to the costumes. For her, I think the bodysuit is quite unique. I'm more used to dresses in, like, the women's discipline or in Pairs, you know. I'm a big fan of it regardless, though. The last part of the, like, non-program, just, like, the sort of, like, vibe and aesthetic is the fact that she dyes her hair brown before this, because she said that Bolero doesn't look right with blonde hair, have to go brunette for it. And I respect that. That is dedication. That is dedication to Bolero. That is a true, like, this is giving Bolero, and I love that. I love how dedicated this is to the vibe of Bolero, and I love and respect her for it personally. And I love the little squigglies on the front of her hair and the little, like, crown she wears in her bun. Like, there was so much time put into the presentation of this program, like, not like presentation in the skating sense, but like presentation in the sense of, like, how they look, their costumes. It looks very nice. They look very polished and put together, which I very much appreciate. I know aesthetics isn't everything, but this is Bolero, guys. This is Bolero. Also, I think the handstand she does at the start of the program, that's very cool and unique. I love their arm movements throughout the program. They're very in sync with the music, which I like. That's very Bolero, you know. The arm movements, especially coming out of the side-by-side jumps, they're very, like, stiff, but I think it works with the stiffness of the music. The music is not, like, super flowy or airy, and I think, like, it hits those beats so well with those stiff arm movements. I think it works very, very well to hit the beats of the music. Even though I personally, like, usually will prefer, like, flowier skating or more loose movements, I think here specifically it actually does work, and it actually accentuates the music in a good way. Like, this is good for Bolero. I also want to say the twizzles and the whole step sequence were timed so well. I mean, they were barely twizzles. They're pair skaters. They don't do, like, a long sequence of twizzles. They did, like, maybe, like, 3, like, rotations of the twizzles. their like twizzles into the step sequence were so well timed. It was really, really good. They were so in sync, and it was so with the music. Oh, that was everything. Their step sequence to me and their twizzles are everything. Like, they can go into ice dance, I'm serious. Ending pose, also very iconic, very T. Negatives though, their throw timing could have been anywhere in the program, honestly. That's not really negative. It's just like the jumps, like, sorry, not the jumps. The throw, like, nothing coming into or out of the throw was at any point accented by the music, and especially when comparing that to their side-by-sides and how they came out of the side-by-sides with such, like, synchronization. I would have preferred if maybe the throw was somewhere where there could have been that sort of, like, accenting on the music, but, you know, it is what it is. His lifts scare me. His lifts really scare me. Every time I see Luka Barilova doing a lift, I kind of have to close my eyes a little bit. I can only look at her. If I look at his feet, I'm going to start like biting my nails. It makes me so anxious because I love her down and I love them as skaters. Please improve your lifts, baby girl. I cannot watch this. It's genuinely unwatchable at times. And honestly, I would put them in S tier for their commitment to the Bolero. You know, his lifts scare me. And for that, I was actually going to put them in A tier, but because they're so committed to the vibe of Bolero, and because this is specifically a Bolero tier list, and the Bolero commitment is the most important thing here, and how many times can I say Bolero, I have to put them in S tier. They're also my faves, so it is what it is. It's special to me personally. I just admire the commitment. Okay, next Bolero, Kevin Aymoz' free program. He used this for the 2023 to 2024 season. He also used this for this season, the 2025 to 2026 season. This program has been very cursed for him, I would say. It's also the program where he famously had that, like, jump fake out that went viral, where he, like, looked like he was gonna go into a jump, and then he just, like, skated on, you know? Okay, so when it comes to this Bolero, I feel like there was a very slow start to the program, and not even just the start, like, kind of just the majority of the program was very slow. Now, I will give context. I specifically watched the one from Skate America this year, so maybe it was not always like this, but I was not gonna watch every single Kevin Aymoz Bolero. Okay, I had other ones to get through. I don't have time for all that, you know? Maybe it was just this rendition. Maybe it was this with Go. I don't know. I don't like it, though. Especially what I don't like is that little weird foot thing he does. I mean, it's on time with the music, but I just don't like it visually, to be honest. My opinion. I'm sorry. Honestly, the whole program kind of just gives nothing to me, which is kind of a shame, but it is what it is. The things I liked his, like, running into the little slide that he did, and then, like, the last, 20 seconds-ish of the program where he's doing that, and then also, like, he moves around really fast, and he comes into the judges for his ending pose. I think it's really weird that I didn't enjoy this program, because I don't watch much Kevin Aymoz. To be honest with you guys, but I know he's, like, very much known as, like, a PCS skater, and he's known for his, like, PCS program composition and skating skills. And, like, skating skills, sure, but, like, everything else, like, the program just felt so empty to me. I cannot give this higher than a D tier. And even then, like, that's really pushing it, guys. Like, I'm being nice here. Okay, so next up is the first pair of skaters that I had never heard of going into this. This is my first time seeing them. No outside bias, which is Germany's Alyona Savchenko and Robin Szolkowy, who skated Bolero as their free program in the 2012 to 2013 season. So the costumes for these ones are interesting to me. Because there's no red elements, and in fact she's wearing a white dress, which is, like, quite unique for a Bolero program, and I don't think is in the spirit of Bolero. I think the spirit of Bolero is very much black, so white is a bit interesting to me as a take, but whatever. They also have these giant crosses on the front of their costumes, which look really gaudy, and I don't like them. I don't think they look nice. I'm not a fan of the costumes. I'm sorry. Even outside of Bolero, the crosses throw me off. But as far as the actual program, aside from the costumes, I really liked this program, honestly. They had a lot of really strong elements. They had some really good lifts. They had really creative entrances into the lifts, and also, like, even the lifts themselves had very cool and unique positions, which, like, I was very shocked by. I really liked it. They were also very in sync in the program. They were very fast. I think it was a very solid and interesting skate, and I think, like, it was choreographed well. It just didn't give off the vibe of Bolero. Like, you could have put a different backing track, and I wouldn't probably have noticed, to be honest. They're very, very solid skaters, so I feel like it has to get an A tier because they're very solid skaters and because they have such good lifts and the program is well put together. I have to put it below Bachokina and Barava, even though I think they're stronger skaters. I think Bachokina and Barava are more to the spirit of Bolero than this is, so I cannot give this higher than an A tier. Though I did really like the program, so I have to put it in A tier. But yeah, the costumes and the choreo made it seem as they could have been skinned to anything. So, you know, it is what it is. The next Bolero is Anastasia, Mishina, and Morozov. short from the 2015 to 2016 season. So I've never seen Mishina skate with anyone other than Galyamov, so this was really interesting for me to watch. I can also kind of see where this was maybe not the best partnership for her. Part of that being the fact this was their first year in juniors, and he was 18 and she was 14, so like that was already a little bit of a mess, and just the skate itself, which I'll get into in a second. Okay, costumes for this, very interesting to me. She was wearing pink. That not even like just with the Boleros I've ranked so far, but like just in general, when I've seen this program, even from other skaters that I can't think of the names of, but I've seen them throughout the years, I've never seen a pink Bolero. This is a first for me. And it doesn't even have like black elements, like it's just straight up pink. And I'm like, okay. His costume is black, it's pretty simple, it has sparklies, they're kind of nice. The program, it was interesting. I'll be a little bit nicer. I don't want to be super harsh on them. They are juniors. And this was actually their first ever junior Grand Prix event, the one I was watching for this. So I'm sure it was stressful, but man, I really don't have much to say about this. And I hate to make fun of literal children, especially her. She was only 14. She was just a baby. They're just not in sync at all. I'm sorry. They're not in sync at all. The program didn't seem that well put together. I will say this. When I first started, I was taking notes as I went. And when I first started watching the program, I noticed that the music sounded different than I'm used to. It wasn't the start of the composition. I was like, okay, this is like a little bit later in the track. Because I listened to Bolero enough times to know that it was still part of Bolero. And I knew that this was just a little bit later on. I was like, okay, not used to this cut of Bolero, but okay. And then like halfway through, I realized like this is just not the original composition of Bolero at all. This is a weird remix. So they completely, like, they went to the point where it was just the beat, and then they like kind of skated to that. It was really messy. They were not in sync at all. It was very weird. I think it could have been done interestingly, but it just didn't work for them. And then they did like a remix section, and that was also weird. It all felt like, especially like the part it was just a beat, it felt very experimental, but they were both out of sync, and it didn't work. And I'm just like, I don't know what this was supposed to be. It just did not work in any way. The costumes didn't work. The vibe of Bolero didn't work. There was some moments where like one of them was in sync with the music and it looked good, but they weren't in sync with each other, and it wasn't a well put together program. So I'm really sorry to these poor little children. She's older than me, but I don't know what's going on with this guy. I'm gonna have to put it into the F tier. The music, vibe, and everything, it was just not great, girls. I'm sorry. Next up, Karolina Kostner. So she is an icon. She's iconic. She skated to Bolero as her free program in the 2013 and 2014 season, including at the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics. And she got bronze there. So I would say this program was pretty successful for her. But it was kind of cursed because I watched her free skate at Worlds for this. Guys, ooh, that was a rough skate. She popped 2 jumps. One of them was a step out. She also had a fall. It was not the cleanest program. Okay, costume. It was all black. She also had red earrings, which I thought was fun because it kept that red element in there. I loved the rhinestone detailing in the costume. Honestly, the cut of the costume was fairly boring, but the rhinestones really, it brought it all together, I think. I don't love a high neckline on a costume, or just in general, but I can look past it because I think it still fit the vibe of Bolero, and I think that's more important than my personal preferences sometimes. So I have a really positive look on this program. She has very fluid movements, which I think is good, and it looks really nice throughout the program, her movements. Specifically, though, for those opening movements, I think they're a little bit too fluid, which is weird to say. I just feel like the opening part of Bolero, it does not serve well to looking nice with super duper fluid movements. It's quite sharp, right? Which is why I think Kamila Valieva, where she does the sort of like sharp arm movements in the different positions over her head, I think that fits it much better than Karolina Kostner's entrance into this. It just feels kind of off. But for the rest of it, though, I will say she is very well timed with the music. She has, of course, very good skating skills. She has very good ice coverage, depth of edge, all those sort of, little tick marks when you're going, what's a good skater, Her step sequence, incredible. I loved her entrance into her step sequence. I thought it was fun, and I thought it was interesting. This is also a program that, compared to some of the others, it's more of the energy building up throughout the program. So when the music gets more intense toward the second half of the program, her movements are also getting more intense. She doesn't maintain an intensity throughout the program. In that second half of the program, when the music becomes more intense, she's moving more. There's more choreography. She's moving a little bit faster even. There's more arm movements. There's more movements. There's more kicks. There's spirals. There's all sorts of like fun things going on. There's a lot going on, and I really think she captured the energy very well. I think she captured the vibe of Bolero. And I love that. I think she captured the vibe of Bolero, and it was also a well put together program. And I have to give that an S tier. Okay, up next is my goat, Elizaveta Tuktamysheva. So I'm just going to get it out of the way. I love her, and I'm very biased. Anyways, so this was her short program for the 2014 to 2015 season. And she actually won Worlds with this program. So I would not say this was a cursed program for her at all. So the dress for this was nice. It's all black and has some sparkles, and it's also very flowy, which is very common with most of like Lisa's dresses, I think. But I'm a fan of it. I like it. It looks nice on her. So this one, again, like Karolina Kostner's, there was a lot more of a build up to it. Though I will say in this program, it was slightly less effective because this was a short program and not a free program. So the build-up felt longer. I think it took up more of a percentage of the program, maybe. I don't know. So this one, again, like kind of like Karolina Kostner's, there was a lot more of a build-up to it. And then once the music intensified, she intensified. So especially after the first and second jumping passes, she got a lot more into it, which I liked. And then she got so much more in sync with the music and so much more energy after that last like final jumping pass. It really, really built up and she gets so into it. It's really, really good. I think also her step sequence is very, very good. She's very fast. She's so on time with the music. She has complicated movements. And of course, throughout the program, she has good skating skills. I think the program is very well put together. It does feel slightly empty in like the first little bit going into like the first like triple axel, that opening jump in the program, but she makes up for that a lot in the second half and a lot after that second jump. I think it really amps up the intensity. She's built the intensity along with the music, and that sort of like difference in the intensity is not particularly hateful because she's built it up. She hasn't just immediately jumped into being intense, which I like that. So I would say with all of these factors, I will put this into an S tier. Though I do prefer Karolina Kostner's over this one. I will still say this is an S tier. Okay, next up is Evgeni Lysacek, who is known for somehow winning the Olympics, and I think it was 2010. Bolero was his short for the 2008-2009 season. So, costume was interesting. It was mostly black, and it also had, like, a see-through cross outline, which now that I'm noticing, like, this is the second, like, costume that's incorporated a cross into it, which, interesting. I didn't love the little see-through cross outline thing. I thought it was weird. There was also red rhinestones. So when it comes to the colors of Bolero, he really hit that. When it comes to just a nice looking costume, not so much, in my opinion. So it gets a check for the Bolero color scheme and such, I guess. So I like this program a little bit more than I thought I would. I think he has very good skating skills. He has very good speed in this program. And there was also immediately a lot going on. He didn't really build up to the program. It sort of just attacked it with energy at the beginning and maintained that energy throughout. And I actually liked it though. I liked it. His movements were very, very in sync with the music. So even though like things were immediately happening, especially compared to the last two programs I had watched, I think I still enjoyed this a lot, even though it was a different approach to it, because he was very in sync. Like his hand movements, his kicks, and like his turns on the ice, they were very in sync with the music. Though there was a point like at the beginning of the step sequence where he was just doing too much with his hands. The movements of his hands were like muddled up and messy, and you couldn't really tell what was happening. That I didn't like. But the rest of the hand movements were good. It was just that one little moment where I just was not a fan. Costume, also not my favorite. The program itself, though, I think was well put together. I think it carries the vibe of Bolero very well. So I will put this into A tier, but probably like the lower part of A tier, to be honest. Okay, so next is Evgenia Tarasova and Vladimir Morozov. So this is their 2019 to 2020 short program. Costumes, 0 out of 100. We've already established the true vibe of Bolero is black and red or just black. Guys, why are we in blue? That is the opposite of red. What are we doing? This is not what Ravel died for. And it's honestly a shame that the costumes were not in the spirit of Bolero, because the program was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. They had really good musical timing. They had good skating skills. Their synchronization was good, apart from like a couple of moments before and during the step sequence. And like, if I'm going off the program, I would say A or even an S tier, but because of the costumes, I can't give it higher than a B. I'm sorry. Those blue costumes, that is not Bolero. So on to the first and only ice dance version of Bolero for this video, as well as the oldest Bolero and one of the most well-known ones, which is Jane Torvill and Christopher Dean's 1983 to 1984 free skate, which they actually won the Olympics with. Again, huge points off for costumes. Guys, this is not the vibe. Please try to be more Bolero. The Bolero is not the blue. It's the red. Come on. Guys, don't get mad at me for saying this, because I've heard this program is like life-changing, and I've heard this is like the best Bolero rendition ever. Like even in the comments, they were glazing hard. It was good. It was very good. I'm gonna start with the bad part and finish with the good stuff, so it seems more like I have a positive comment to leave off on. To be fair, I did like most of it. The thing I did not like about the program, aside from the costumes not matching Bolero vibes, is that it took them a long time to like really like start the program and start skating. I'm used to nowadays where you can't be on the ice like for super long without skating before you receive a deduction, and like this would have received deduction if it was in like today's. Like the music started and they were just sitting on their knees and they were doing movement, and then she was up, and then he took like 20 more seconds to get up on that ice. It was just like, okay. and when they were doing the movements with their knees, they weren't even like that good. Like, I think they would have been better if they were moving around a bit more. I think if they had stood up earlier, I would have liked it better, and I probably would have ranked it higher. That being said, though, once they actually started the program, immediately I was invested. They had such good synchronization, and they were like so close together like the entire time, which is a big thing in ice dance, guys. They were so close together. They had such good synchronization. Their movements were just chef's kiss, and they have also a lot of like really interesting and complicated lifts. Their lifts were difficult and they look very unique. Like, I did not see, like, most of the lifts I saw is not something I would see in ice dance this season or like recently, so I thought that was very interesting. I really like also they have very, very good musical timing throughout the program, and the program itself is very well put together. There's constantly something going on, which I like. There's no dead space. Obviously in ice dance, there's less room for dead space. There's no like jump telegraphing or anything like that, but I like the fact that there was absolutely no dead space in this entire program. I really enjoyed that, and I also very much like the ending of the program. And honestly, guys, I would put this in an S tier, but because of the costumes, and because this is not the spirit of Bolero, the costumes are not the spirit of Bolero. They vibe Bolero in the movements. They were on sync with the movements to Bolero, but they were not the costumes. I can't give it an S. I'm gonna have to give it an A. Next time, try red or black costumes, and you'll make the S tier, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, next, my girl, Michelle Kwan. She did Bolero for her free program in the 2004 to 2005 season. So, costume. Let's get the cat out of the bag. What is this? What is this? This is giving Alyssa Lou MacArthur Park. This is giving a Dudley Petrosian Waka Waka. Why are we in this, like, fun little cute sparkly gold number? It's cute. It's not Bolero. This is not the vibe of Bolero. This is worse to me than the blue. Genuinely, because at least the blue, I could see it. I could kind of be like, okay, that could give Bolero. This is like a party dress. Like, this is not the vibe of Bolero at all. I don't like it. Interesting thing about this program, it was actually choreographed by Christopher Dean, which is the guy from the last Bolero program. Sadly, though, I think he had a better take on Bolero as a competitor than as Michelle's choreographer. Extremely slow start to this program. There was a feeling of build-up. The problem is the build-up didn't come, even when the music began to intensify. Why was I being edged to Bolero? I don't know. That's not the vibe. You know, that's not what I'm trying to do in my free time. The best part of this program, I would say, is the end, which is that she does this straight line step, and I think that was the climax of the program. I really liked this part, and she was like so explosive on the ice, and it was so interesting. Sadly, that was only the last 20 seconds of the program. She also had absolutely like no arm movement throughout the entire program, which I know some people are really like, oh, well, you know, it matters more the foot movement, and I agree, but you have to have something going on, I think, with your arms. Like, I don't know. She low-key just had them on her sides most of the time, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, whatever. And I love her. I love Michelle Kwan. I did not love this program. I did not love this program, and the costume just made it worse. So I have to give this a D tier. And actually, like, it being a D tier, I think it had a lot of the same emptiness that I feel like Kevin Amos's program gave. So I feel like they kind of go well together in that same tier. They kind of belong there, you know? Now on to Shoma Uno. He did Bolero in 2021 to 2022 season. He actually got an Olympic medal with this one. And oh boy, so first off, costume. You already know, blue is not my Bolero. That is not my headcanon for Bolero. So immediately, there's points off of this. What are you doing? And honestly, guys, I couldn't even finish watching this program. I was so disappointed. The Bolero was not Bolero. It was not the original composition. It's absolutely not in the spirit of the original Bolero. This is just sad. Yet again, Shoma Uno has disappointed me. First, it was announcing he was going to become a professional gamer because he doesn't want to do ice dance with Marin Honda, even though, again, they've been kind of teasing they're going to do ice dance competitively. Then he went, I want to do esports. Ugh. And now he's butchered our beloved Bolero. This man, he's ruining everything, I swear. And actually, the thing is, it wasn't even in that order, but if anything, that makes it worse. Anyways, F tier, I don't even care. So low, it's actually, you know what, I dislike this so much, I didn't finish the program, but also to the fact, I'm moving Plushenko and Mishina and Boikov up to E, because this is just, at least those ones were to Bolero. I mean, Mishina, not as much, but it was to more Bolero than this. That was more Bolero than this was Bolero. And actually, guys, I was originally going to end the video ranking Shoma Uno's Bolero, but now I have to add an extra one because I cannot end off on a fake Bolero. What is this? I need to hear my new favorite song one more time. And I need to hear it the way it's supposed to be in the original composition. I don't know what that remix was. So yes, I'm dragging in Petr Gumennik's exhibition program to Bolero from the 2023 Russian Challenge. I just need to feel something again, guys. Costume, incredible. It's this cool, like, black top. It has like a strappy bit to the side of it. I think that's fun. And then there's a fun reveal element to it. It opens up. He's got a glowing red heart. And again, guys, is that not in the spirit of Bolero? red and black. Is that not Bolero? Is that not Bolero? This is Bolero true vibe. Seriously. The actual program, immediately, we're at full energy. And I'm gonna be honest, the choreography in this, it pretty much beat everybody else. I'm so serious. He was so in sync with this music. The program is clearly set to Bolero. He hits like pretty much every single beat in the music, whether that be with turns, whether that be with foot movement, whether that be with hand movements, everything. It's so on beat with everything. It's beautiful. It's incredible. You know, you can tell this was set to Bolero, or at the very least a song with the same BPM. It was perfect. It encapsulates Bolero properly. This is a real tribute to Bolero. And then, a surprise, he plays Bolero on the piano. Girls, this is the most pure form of Bolero that I've seen ever in my life. This is what Ravel would have wanted. He did die for this piano composition. It's perfect in the sense that it is Bolero. It's not a weird remix. He doesn't mess up the notes. This is pure Bolero. This is literally just him playing Bolero on the piano. Like, it's literally just Bolero. So it has to be S tier. In fact, it's like S plus if that's even an option. Okay, so guys, I have crowned my favorite Bolero, which is the best composed and the best Bolero vibe. But I'll give you my top three, which is Petr Gumennik in first, obviously, Caroline and Kostner in second, and Elizaveta Tuktamysheva in third. Close fourth, to third, Bachokina and Barava.
Argue with the wall if you disagree.
I'm also gonna do, my Bolero curse ranking. I think that, honestly, the most cursed Bolero is probably Camila's. I would say Kevin Aymoz in second, to be honest. Now, I need to reveal my position on Bolero, as this whole time I have not revealed if I am pro or anti-Bolero. Nobody knows my stance on this, and honestly, I think it's time, girls. I am anti-Bolero. Hear me out. There are so many good programs to this song. Many that I didn't even include because, this would take all day, and I wouldn't be able to find them. But, this song, even, this composition itself, Bolero, I really like it. Sometimes, guys, you don't understand. I hum this song to myself throughout the day sometimes. That is how catchy it is. That's how much is on my brain, and I've heard it so often. Sometimes I'll be at school, and I'll be like, I want to listen to music. I open up Spotify on my phone, and I search up Bolero. I'm not even joking. That's genuinely what I listen to sometimes. And that's maybe a little bit sad, but that is my reality. That is my life, But I fear that's part of the problem. The thing is, Bolero, it's just really overplayed. I think it's so common in the sport that I'm honestly just tired of seeing programs to it. There's just such an abundance each and every year, and I'm really tired of it. I'd much rather a less common track with new and unique choreography. Recently in a vlog, actually, Savchenko was talking about how the same pieces of music are often reused, particularly in women's singles. But I would honestly even extend this to figure skating in general. I agree with her completely, and I think I would love to hear new and interesting music. And not even just in the sense of, I want to hear different stuff, but also in the sense, I think that's really good for the growth of the sport. I think people see the sport and they go, ooh, classical music, boring, which as I've already revealed, I like listening to classical music. I'm so sorry. Not everyone likes that, and I think to get people into the sport, can't be the only thing people are skating to. For example, Alyssa Liu going as popular and viral as she was, it was for stateside, but even, for her actual competitive program, it was because she skated to Promise by Leve, who is, a popular, modern artist, I think if she was skating to Bolero, she would not have the same fame she does. And, it is what it is, right? But I think, that's an aspect of why we should not just only be doing classical music in this sport. And again, just Bolero every single season for every single skater. Overall, though, guys, I like Bolero, the actual music. I hope you agree with my Bolero takes. If not, honestly, if you don't agree with my takes on Bolero, it really doesn't matter. I really don't care. This was just for fun. Don't take this that seriously. I've linked the tier list in the description with all the skaters and programs I ranked. So feel free to make your own and rank them how you would have done it. Tag me in it on Twitter or send it to me on Twitter DMs. I don't know. I want to see your takes, or just write it out in the comments if you want. Also, please subscribe for more content like this. Also, upcoming Tuktamysheva deep dive. If you're interested in that, turn on the notifications. That's coming out pretty soon. Also, check out my other socials, again, for updates on that video or just updates on my channel in general. And just thank you so much for watching, girls. Bye-bye.